Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox. Today, we're going to continue with our theme of embarking on a journey of self discovery because life is good. Come on, say that, think that, believe that, know that life is good. And this season is the best. It is the best because we are navigating through this journey, uh, learning things about ourselves, and with an uh, intent to reach a place where, and actually, it's an evolution. You know, we evolve every day. We are evolving as we learn new things. We are going to the next level of understanding of ourselves. And when that happens, we come to a place of true authenticity. That is really where life is, where it becomes meaningful when you are living your true authentic self. Now, we have been led to believe that life is about endless suffering, and that it's inevitable. That's why, you have people, they talk about going through a trial, going through, they call it trials and tribulation, people that are going through a test, needing a breakthrough. And you hear that so often. I mean, you get onto social media, it all depends on what circle you have, but you hear it all the time. I'm going through a test, and so forth. That's not true, amigos. You can create the life that you want, and that's not the life that you want. That is not the life that you want. All you need is to be able to get the wisdom that was not given to you so that you will know how to navigate through this journey and create the life that you want. All the things, a lot of stuff that's been taught to us, a lot of lies, a lot of things that doesn't even apply today. As a matter of fact, it's interesting. Over the weekend, I was talking to someone, and they were sharing. It was a business person, was a doctor, and she asked me, well, what is my show about? And I said, well, my show is a little different. It has to do with breaking with tradition, define the status quo, challenging conventional norms, and religious indoctrination. And she says, wow, that sounds like something that I can relate to. And she went on to share with me that she is from India, and her culture, the things that she learned, are so different from what she has had to adapt to. She said when she was finished with her undergrad uh, in India, she went to continue her education in the UK. And after that, she came to the US to get her doctorate in her field. And she was just really sharing with me the contrast. She said that she has had to adapt. But for her, it was, she embraced it because she embraces her humanity. And she says she learned how to do that in while she was in England. And she shared that just the in her culture, you never look someone in the eye. That just doesn't happen because it's a form of disrespect. And when you walk with your head down. So that's what she's used to. And when she went to England and saw people looking at each other in the eye as they speak to each other, to her, she was aghast. She could not relate to that. And so she has had to adapt to that Western culture, starting while she was in England. And then when she came to the US, it was completely different. The same thing. The culture was totally different. Now, she had an arranged marriage. She's been married for some time, and her husband is still involved or still embraces the traditions of old, the traditions that he grew up with, which is the same as herself. And so they have learned to uh, manage their conflict because she is so much more advanced or change, I should say. She has really embraced this Western culture. So what that leads us to understand is that you can make changes. You can make, she shared with me that her kids, like in her culture, you never ask why. When your parents or an adult tells you something, you just oblige. That's it. You never ask why. She says her kids, they ask why. Why? You tell them something, why? And that is something that they have had to adapt to. So understand that changes can happen, and it's solely up to you. So you can create the life that you want. We all want a good life. We all want to be successful as we define it. We all want to be happy. We all want to live in joy and peace, contentment. We all want that. We all want a healthy social circle with people that we can relate to, that we like each other, or family dynamics. We want to have a good family dynamics, our ourselves, and that's where it starts. It starts with a relationship with yourself. You are at the helm of your journey. I am at the helm. I'm in control. You are in control. The thing is to keep an open mind and remain curious about life, about things. Expand your horizon. Allow yourself to discover new things. When I was talking to Dr. Rainey, I was really curious about, her culture. I wanted to know more. I wanted to, and we started to talk about the different religions, and I asked her if she was Sikh, and she wasn't. She was of another religion, and in India they have a whole bunch of different gods and religion and so forth. But I was so interested in learning, and she was willing to share. As a matter of fact, she said we need to have, coffee. We need to talk some more, because she was interested in what I had to share about breaking with tradition. That's the thing that keeps us, that holds us back, because, as I mentioned before, we are led to believe that endless suffering is inevitable, and that is not true. Now, if you believe that, that's what your life will be, but that's not what you want. You want to live a life that is flourishing, a life that is fruitful, a life of joy, of happiness. And with that, we need to start first acknowledging that it starts with us, and to know that our mind is the seat of everything. This is like the throne. This is where everything resides. This is where your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your behavior, that's where it all starts, in your mind. And you are able to create with that the life that you want. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for the bare minimum. Don't settle for things that other people may think that you deserve. No, whatever it is that you think you deserve. I told you, well, I've shared before that my dad, when I was younger, and he took me to the store, and I looked at this dress, and it was quite expensive, and he said, if you want it, get it. He says, you deserve the best. You deserve to have a good life, something to that effect. You deserve it. You deserve the best. You deserve to have a good life. And he said, don't look at the label, because if you look at the label, don't look at the price tag. If you look at it, you cannot afford it. It's something like that. And he bought it. He thought that I deserved it. And I'm thinking, oh, it's a little expensive. He's like, no. And that has stayed with me. It has stayed with me to where it has been beneficial, and in other areas it was detrimental, because I remember when I lived in New York, and after school and all that, I was on my own. I had a job and so forth, but I always thought that I could go out and buy anything, and to the point to where I racked up a credit card debt so high that it was not good. And I called my dad and I said, Dad, I need like $10,000, and I needed like 800, no, 8,000 to kind of like clean up my bills and so forth. Then I thought I might have a couple thousand more and so forth. And when I was in school, my dad used to send me money every month. He would send me money and so forth. But anyway, so I asked for $10,000, and he said no. Well, no, as a matter of fact, no. He did not say anything. He's like, $10,000, what for? And I said, well, I got myself in a little financial situation, and I need and we finished that conversation, and I never heard from him regarding the $10,000. He didn't send it to me. That's when I understood that, Cynthia, you are it. Here's where you become a responsible adult. And I just knew that at that point, it was me. I was responsible for me. I took responsibility for myself. And with that, try to get out of debt and all that kind of stuff. So the point is, but I walked away thinking, knowing, acknowledging, believing, accepting, realizing that I deserve a good life. I deserve the best. I really believe that. And you deserve a good life. Why would you think otherwise? Why would you think that suffering is endless and inevitable? Why would you think that of yourself? Absolutely not. You deserve whatever it is that you desire to do. You deserve to have a good life. But you need to know that it all starts with you. And as I said, your mind is where everything is housed. It houses your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your behavior. It all starts there. One of the things that we have been lied about is, besides thinking that suffering is endless and inevitable in life, is to deny our humanity. That's the worst thing that's been taught to us, to suppress our feelings and suppress our emotions, deny our humanity. And if you notice, when a baby is born, the first thing that they do is express their emotions. When they come out crying unapologetically. They come out of the womb crying. We all are emotional people. We are made up of the same thing, just the same parts. We all have emotions. And those emotions are taught. Of course, the baby comes out crying, but in order to suppress your emotions, to suppress your feelings, those are taught. We are taught, like you would tell your son, boys don't cry. Stop crying, man up. And what happens? He suppresses his emotions, his feelings, his thoughts, and then it turns into depression or anxiety. Why? Because you are not able, or you are not expressing how you really feel about every situation. Because when we express our thoughts and our feelings, what we are learning to do, or what we are actually doing, is managing ourselves. When you can govern your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your behavior, you learn to manage. You learn good self-management. And not everybody have self-management. That's where emotional intelligence comes in. Critical thinking skills comes in. But you have to learn. Those are learned uh, emotions, how to manage your emotion. If you have a kid that throws a fit and a tantrum because of something simple, because he can't find his toys, you don't need to beat the kid. You need to sit with the kid and teach him how to manage his emotions. Not finding the toy that you are looking for, does it means you throw a fit, a tantrum? No, that's not emotional intelligence. You teach the kid what type of emotions goes with it. You start looking for it, and you just, you come up with it. You'll find it. But in the meantime, if you don't find it, you don't need to burst out into a tantrum. And as we grow, sometimes we grow with the same type of dysfunctional behaviors, which is not, that's not necessary. We need to know how to manage ourselves. Good self-management, effective self-management of your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings. And that's how you go through and navigate through life. And one of the things also is that all those things that's been taught to us, whether it's by cultural construct or religious indoctrination and all of that, traditions, conventional norms, and all that, you only know what you've been taught. That's why you have to seek out for the wisdom that applies to you to garner wisdom for the things you want. You want to create a certain lifestyle, one of joy, one of, peace and fun and pleasure and so forth. And based on however you define it, again, it's not a matter of good or bad, right or wrong. It's however you define it, whatever life it is that you want to create for yourself. And in most cases, you're going to have to get rid of a lot of stuff, break with tradition. You're going to have the courage to break with tradition, break with, conventional norms, things that are status quo, defy the status quo, and religious indoctrination. Learn the truth. Learn the truth about that. You don't have to, when it comes to religion, that's something so personal. I made decisions for myself, and you will have to make decisions for yourself. Whatever works for you. Again, it's not good or bad, right or wrong. But if the things that I saw or the things that I learned when I started my journey 15 years ago, which I didn't realize I was going through a journey, because that wasn't the cliche word phrase at the time that I understood. But now that I look back, I was going through a journey of getting rid of the old and embracing the new. And it's really interesting because I have really embraced not only a lifestyle, but my outlook on life, my views, my opinions, and I lend myself to to the new. To learn new things, I remain curious. I want to know this. I want to know that. I fact check everything. My husband, he would say something, and then he would say something like, "Oh well, you can fact check it," because he knows that I will. He knows that I will. I like to know stuff because the thoughts that the information that you have, and when I get information for myself, and I don't just Google stuff. If it's an important piece of information that's going to affect my life, because one of the things that I was sharing with my husband the other day, that uh, because I read a lot and from different sources, but I don't. When I read something, if it resonates with me, I own it. I take it. I sup with it, and I process it so that it becomes mine, so that it becomes, something that I know is true. And once I know that for myself, if I can share it from me to you, that's when I know it's mine. Now, if I have to remember what somebody else says, it's not yet mine, because I will be parroting what someone else says. I will be just repeating what someone else says. I need to know for myself. That's why I, you know, I take notes. and I look at things, and I create my own thoughts, my own views, my own opinion of the situation. And once it becomes mine, it is mine. I can write about it and I can share it authentically because it becomes mine. No thought is original. If I read a book, they have learned that from someone else or whatever. So I encourage you, whatever works for you, however it works for you, to do that so that it is applicable to your life. And when it comes to religion, because a lot of you are struggling with your religious doctrine, that it doesn't conform, it doesn't, it's conflicting with the lifestyle that you wish to live. And so you need to process that. You need to process that and figure out what it means to you. If it's the truth, if it's your truth. When I went through that, I discovered that the religion I was guided by had nothing to do with me. There's, books written by ancient men, tweaked, changed, modified, altered. That's why you have so many translations. Why? Because if someone didn't like this doctrine, they tweaked it and created a new doctrine. So I said to myself, well, if you are a mere man and you can do that, then I also have the wisdom and the know-how and the intuition and the smarts, the intelligence to know what works for me, to learn my truth and apply my truth to my life. And I'm telling you that you can do the same. It's in this my show. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, just reminding you that you have it within you. You are well able to. You are capable of. You are capable of creating the life that you desire. But it all starts with the thoughts that you have, because your mind is what houses every thought, feeling, emotion, and behavior. And as you make a decision to change that, to allow yourself to expand your mind and to remain curious, and then have the confidence to make the change, to modify things that doesn't apply to your life. And sometimes they are big decisions, especially if you have been raised with, when I was talking to Dr. Ramey, I was she and she's so liberated now, in comparison to how she grew up. She talked and we looked each other in the eye, and we she was just sharing some things, and just some bold things, how she has changed living here in the United States. And I was really impressed by that, because what it leads me to believe in, or what it leads me to understand and to know, is that yes, you can make the changes. She said she would never survive with her, if she had not has she not broken with some of the traditional uh, and conventional norms that she grew up with, she would be out of place, especially in her field of expertise. She said she would have been out of place. So she adapted. And now that she's got two kids that were born here, all they know is American culture. She said to ask an adult why, like when your parents or your grandparents tell you something, to say why this, why that. She says that's just something that they do naturally. And her husband, who has not yet adapted totally, or he hasn't really reached a certain level of breaking with the tradition, he has to understand, and they have their situations that they have learned to resolve. So it is possible. It is possible for you to change the way you think so that you can live the life you desire, so that you can create. First of all, you have to know that you can, that it is possible. It is possible. It is possible. And as you go through this journey of self-discovery, you will start unpacking a lot of things. It takes courage. And not everyone is fit, not everyone is able to do that. Not everyone has the courage to do that, to step out of the box. And I say, get rid of the box. Don't even think that there is a box, because once I say step out of the box, in your mind, you think that there is a box. I don't think there's a box at all. The world and its expansion is all mine. This universe is mine. So I do not narrow it down. I don't approach life with a small myopic vision. No, I approach life, with an open mind and curious to embrace things that are new, things that resonate with me. I delve in more and more to find out more about it. And if it's something that I can apply to my life, I do. Certain things I've had to get rid of. I've had to set boundaries, and I have had to push out boundaries because I'm coming in. And you can do the same. It is your life. It is time for you to create the life that you want. And this whole thing about, we've also been taught to deny our humanity. Well, let me be clear. Your humanity is who you are. You cannot be less human or more human. And what is important, once you embrace your humanity, then you will learn to yourself. Self management is critical in this journey. You need to learn how to manage yourself, and that's where emotional intelligence kicks in. You have to know how to manage yourself, manage your emotions. That's why you see people fly off the handle. Why? They have no self management. Road rage, no self management. Cursing somebody out, no self management. You have got to be a effective manager of self, of yourself, amigos. But you've got to embrace that you are 100% human, and not suppress your emotions. If you are emotional in something, then cry. And I'm familiar with that because I've done that. I've suppressed my emotions. I have suppressed my feelings. Used to, because for some reason that's what we're taught. Until I see it, and that's the thing. Until I came into that place of being my true authentic self. And again, there's no destination in this journey, because we continue to evolve day after day after day. We evolve, we get to different levels. We learn new things. And as we learn new things, we apply new things. Our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions, and then, our behavior is a manifestation of all those thoughts, emotions, feelings. It makes us behave in a certain way. Road rage is a negative behavior. Cursing someone out is a negative behavior. Sometimes some people need to be told a few things, but yeah, you determine that. But you need to come to a place of self management to manage yourself. So if I were to ask you, what kind of life it is that you want to create. And that is a question that you will understand. And why are you not there yet? And if you are, great. You go into another level. What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of life do you want to have? What kind of life do you want to have? What are the things that you like to do? And what are the lives that you have entertained? Do you think suffering is inevitable? When something happens to you, do you say, "Oh, I'm going through a trial"? No, all of that is a lie. If something happens, it just happens. If something happens, it happens. You just fix it. You can have the life that you desire. Once you understand that your mind houses all the thoughts that shapes things into reality, into whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you want. Do you tell yourself things like, uh, you're too old, you're not pretty enough, you don't have the right influence, you don't have enough money? What are those thoughts that you tell yourself? You're not in the right circle, you're not smart enough? What are the things that you are telling yourself? And you can't blame someone else. "Oh, I've got 5 kids to take care of, and I've got a husband that this." No, it doesn't. You can self-manage. Self-manage. Think of the life that you want to create for yourself and begin managing your life, managing yourself. Managing yourself. And with all that, then you make a decision to take care of the 5 kids and take care of, your all those things. But it starts with you. You are at the helm. You are in control. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. You are in control. You're the one, you are the mastermind behind the things that you create in your life. You are the mastermind. You are the one that can make things happen in your life. If you want to go back to school, then you plan on it. And if you want to go back to school and if you can't leave your house to go to school every day, then go online. There are a lot of universities that offers online training. You can get a master's degree, you can get your doctor's degree, go online. Whatever it is that you want to accomplish. If you want to start traveling, then you plan for that. Make a plan. Make a plan. Yes, we all have responsibilities. You make a plan. Think of it in terms of, again, managing yourself. You are the only one that can manage yourself. You're the only one that can manage yourself. But you have to understand, you cannot suppress your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts. You cannot suppress those things. And you cannot deny your humanity. The more I think of it, it's so, and most people, a lot of people, they just don't know, because when you see people, the way they behave, that the word narcissism, that word is just being thrown around, a lot today. That's the buzzword today. But just look at the behaviors of people and you will know whether or not that person is in touch with themselves. Because when you are in touch with who you are, one of the things that I see is that you really come to a place where you want to just give out. You want to pour into others. I over the weekend again, I was with I met this person and a business woman, and we were just there talking. And when I say that, when I talk about breaking with tradition, that seems like a buzz phrase because people, it seems like, are up to here. They haven't really defined what that is. But when I say breaking with tradition, it seems like people become so relatable. They're like, oh yeah, it resonates with people because we do things day in and day out based on tradition, not because it serves us, but just because that's what we have been taught. That's what we know. That's what we are used to. That's the way our parents did it. That's what we know. And we don't allow ourselves to discover something new, something different, something innovative, something of a novelty. We don't allow ourselves that. We just, and, with my husband, sometimes he would want to stick with the norm. And I would say, no, I said, we can do something else. We can do something different. Let's do this or let's do that. And he would be like, oh yeah, you're right. And I would, I come up with a lot of creative ideas. Let's do this, let's do that, let's go here, let's go there. Let's do something new, different, exciting, adventurous, spontaneous. And he loves it. And I allow my mind to think in those terms. I allow my mind to think in those terms when I am, or if I can't figure out something, and I'm like, okay, what is a new way to do it? What is something new? A new way to do it? A new way to create. And when I'm having a challenge, either figuring out something, then I know that for that situation, I need something else. I need to be more creative and I need to be more innovative. So I start thinking in terms of newness. I want something new. That's how I govern my mind. We talk about managing the self. That's how I manage my thinking. And then I allow myself to think up, to think something new, something different, something uh totally different. Sometimes my husband's like, "Oh, where'd you come up with that?" Yeah. And in most cases, he would just embrace it and know that it's something different, something fun. I encourage you to do the same, but you've got to trust yourself. You've got to trust yourself and know that you can manage yourself. You can manage yourself, my friend. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's social construct, religious indoctrination, tradition, but you have to make sure it works for you because otherwise you will keep in mind that uh you may be guilty if you're breaking with tradition. I remember years ago, we used to go to this family's house for Thanksgiving. Every Thanksgiving, this family, us, and we would all meet there, and it would be just a great big Thanksgiving uh, dinner. As a matter of fact, one time, and Christmas as well, Christmas. But one time they had, I mean, it was just lots of food, and this particular family with two kids. I remember the last time they were there. This was years ago, and they said, starting next year, because her kids, I don't remember, they were probably, I don't know, 10 and 12. And she said, starting next year, I'm going to start my own family tradition. And the following year, she did not show up. Why? because she wanted to break from that tradition. She wanted to break from that. Of course, we missed her. She wanted to break from that tradition. And I thought, wow. And she, however, whatever it is that she did, she had Thanksgiving dinner at her house with her, I guess, friends and her family. And she went on to do that year after year. Then there was a time that we broke because we thought, okay, one year we may want to spend it uh, on a ship on the ocean, on a cruise or whatever, and another year we spend it at with friends, or we may stay home and just have dinner here. We would invite couple families. And so breaking with tradition, that's something, to me it's easy that you could do, but to break with tradition, it's not easy. People that go to church every Sunday, tell them not to go. That is a big thing. One guy shared that on he's married, and the wife grew up in church, and so did he, and once he started breaking out of that whole mindset, and he decided he didn't want to go to church anymore. Well, guess what? It created conflict in his home, because as far as the wife knew, on Sunday, that is what we do. We go to church. That's the way he grew up as well. But then once he start, breaking with those thoughts, uh, with those patterns, behavior, he said no, he didn't see why. He didn't think that he had to. Why? Because he had expanded his mind. He expanded his mind, and he was learning new things that made his life richer. And as a result, he poured more attention into his wife. Of course, but she was stuck on the tradition. She was stuck on the tradition. And so she, as much as he would pour into her to do other things, like on the weekends, have date nights and things of that was not what she wanted. That was not her language. Her language was church every Sunday. And he said he's come to realize that is not, first of all, it's not necessary, and that's not what he wanted. Not after he had this kind of awakening, a conscious sense of awareness of who he is, and start really uh, having an introspect and checking himself. And why do he start asking himself, why do I go? Especially since he no longer wanted to go. Why do I go? And he found no reason not to go. Now, did he leave his religion? I don't know. It didn't seem that way. But did he leave the tradition, the social construct, the religious construct? He said no. He said, no. So he is working through that. This was something that he's working through that with his wife. He loves his wife and loves his family, and that relationship is solid, and so forth. But he simply does not want to. He is not, and it's interesting because when you get to that place of knowing, or when you, as you are evolving and you get to a place where you're going to implement a big change in your life, remember, you're practicing self-management so that you can live a meaningful life, okay, and a happy life. You're managing yourself, your feelings, your thought, your emotions, and the behavior of his was to withdraw from church because that no longer met his needs. And once you do that, you may have pressure from the outside. But what I gathered from this person is that he was dealing with himself. And I get the impression that is what he communicated to his spouse, to his wife, that this is a self thing. I don't want to do this anymore. It has nothing to do with you. If you want to continue to go, that's fine. But he is pouring more into the marriage, hoping that his wife will come around to the same thought process like he is, the same thought process that he has, the same understanding, the same truth that he has. But there is no guarantee. There's no guarantee that she will change from break with tradition. So that's something that he's working through. But I found this story fascinating because sometimes we make changes, and now if he continued to attend just to please his wife, he would be suppressing his emotions and start bottling up. It turns into resentment and things of that. He really would not, it would be a waste of time for him. Think of your life. What are the things that you're doing that's no longer nourishing your life? What are the things that you are doing to please someone else, to satisfy the needs of someone else, or to keep in line with tradition? What are the things that you are doing? What are the habits that you have that you know it no longer serves you, but you continue to do the same things over and over and over and over again? If you want to create a different life, it's up to you. You have to do things differently. You have to make different decisions. You have to make different decisions for yourself. It all starts with you. You are at the helm. You are in control. And even just thinking that may go against your religious indoctrination. That's something that you will have to reconcile with that teaching, because I know that when I was into religion years ago, the whole thing was, God is in control, God is in control, God has got whatever. And I've come to find out that is not, for me, that no longer held. That belief no longer applied to me. That belief. And ever since I broke away from that type of thinking that God is in control, waiting on God and God is in control and all that, that no longer applied to me. So I broke away from that. I discovered my truth, and I realized that I'm in control, and therefore I took on a different perspective about life, about my life. I started to manage my life differently. I started to manage my thoughts. I started to manage my feelings and my emotions, and start doing things differently. And then I start seeing, oh wow, this is cool. Like, I did this, or I thought of that. I did this, I did that. I start thinking in those terms, and things just start working out. I would put my hand on something and it'll prosper. Things start working out. And I didn't, it's like, oh wow. When I realized, but I had to acknowledge that. I had to own that. I had to accept, believe, acknowledge that it's me. I'm at the helm of this journey for myself. This journey, I am in control. And again, that goes against the grain. That goes against, well, at least your religious teaching. At least, it's like when I was talking to Dr. Ramey, and in her culture, she expressed to me, she said, it is so patriarchal. It's a patriotic uh, uh, culture. and the man is held. She said, when you go to a place, you don't, he doesn't open the door. You open the door for him. That's what she shared. She says, you open the door for him. You don't wait for him to open the door for you. You open the door for him. That was all foreign to me because I didn't know that particular thing. But I was, I wanted to learn more and more and more. And she would just share these nuggets, and it was interesting. And we were gonna spend some time talking some more. But I am so interested in picking her brain because I want to know more about that culture. And she said, she is made. Of course, she's educated and she's lived in the Western world uh, most of her life, and so she is not really interested in going back. Absorbing that culture. She knows it, and she is not raising her kids within that culture either. As a matter of fact, she said to me that her husband made it clear to her that in the presence of my family, don't expect me to hold your hand. Don't expect me to show any kind of emotions, like to hold your hands or to kiss you or to hug you. That is prohibited in their culture. That is a big no-no. Imagine that. I wouldn't survive in that in that setting at all. But that's a cultural thing. And in some areas, she has broken with tradition. She has defied the status quo, challenged conventional norms. Like she said to me, who makes that? Who said that is normal? Challenge conventional norms and defied certain religious indoctrination. She made those decisions, but she's happy marriage and so forth, but she has her challenges as she evolved into this Western culture. And she's been here for the longest time. But when you're with someone that still follows the tradition, there will be conflict. The same as in your life. You may have some conflict when you try to break from tradition. And I say that with all the confidence because that is what keeps people stuck and stifled, and it doesn't allow you breathing room to expand your knowledge and your scope into this. We live in a vast world. When you see someone, you don't criticize them or hate them or judge them. No, try to find out about them. Try to find out about them, how to live in peace with your fellow neighbors, and how to understand a different culture. They may not do things like you. And I'm not saying it's not challenging, it can be challenging. But at the same time, once you're cognizant of these truths, then you can take initiative to live a life that will be in harmony with structure your social structure. Bring peace and joy, and wherever you go, you show up as not only good energy, but you show up with the happiness, with the joy, with the energy that sets the tone. You don't go into a place and adapt who you are to that energy if it's low or negative. No, you walk in with your energy and you bring that to whatever setting you are. You bring your energy because you know who you are. You bring it. You, again, are managing yourself. Once you come to that understanding, then you determine, how do you want to live? What kind of life do you want? What kind of life do you want to create with your spouse, your kids, or your partner, your significant other? You determine that and you start to manage yourself. Effective self management. It is all about you, my friend. You are in control and you are at the helm of your journey, no one else. So I'm going to leave you with that so that you can sup on that and go do your own search to garner the wisdom, seek out the wisdom as to how you can make the changes, implement the changes, and have the courage to deal with the resistance and people around you that may not understand the journey that you are going through and your objective, because your journey is something personal. No one is going to put their stamp on it. All you need to know that it is your journey and you will manage it yourself. So again, I'm going to leave you with that. In the meantime, every Thursday we have I have a date with a friend. We're going to go out and have a nice dinner and things like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, but you have a good weekend. It's coming up. Whatever it is, we're now in October. I am so glad because I like the cooler weather and so forth. In the meantime, every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have a date right here. And if you cannot meet me here, then 24/7, you can check out, see down here on this icon, you've got YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. You can pick up the broadcast on those, give it a like. Again, this show is not for everyone. I understand that. Doesn't mean to offend anyone, doesn't mean to offend you. If it doesn't resonate with you, then it's not your show. There are a lot of great podcasts that you can tune into and things that you can relate to, but it is for you that are going through this journey with me, this journey of self-discovery, to reach to that place of your true authentic self so that you can create and live the life that is meaningful and fruitful unapologetically. So, hasta luego, amigos. Hasta la próxima semana. I will see you next week, or I will be with you next week. In the meantime, have a fantastic weekend.